The annual inflation rate in May 2022 was 8.6%. This is the highest level since 1981, and it has honestly affected a lot of individuals and families financially and has put them into very tight situations. So today I want to talk about inflation and help you to understand a little bit more about what it is and why it is happening. Hey there, I'm Katie Jones. I am a faith-based money coach, and I help young professionals like yourself to learn excellent money management skills that are rooted in the gospel. So ultimately, you can free your money up to pursue your unique calling without any financial hesitation. Right now, this is really hard because inflation has hit so many of us, including myself, and has made it very difficult to continue to reach our financial goals and to pursue our callings without that financial hesitation in the way. Everything's really expensive, and so there is more financial hesitation when it comes to being generous and just being free with our money in the way that we use it to glorify God. And I had a hard time understanding what inflation really was and why it was happening. Why was everything becoming so expensive? Why does everything have to continue to rise in price? And so I wanted to understand it a little bit better myself, but now I want to share what I have learned with you so that you can have a better understanding of why inflation is happening. And if you do find this video helpful, please give it a like to let me know that it was helpful for you. That way I can continue making videos that are similar to this. And then consider subscribing to my channel if you would like to learn more about biblical as well as practical money tips to help you excel in your financial freedom journey and glorify the Lord more freely with your finances. I want to share with you 3 factors that are significantly contributing to the rising prices that we are seeing. Factor number 1 is supply chain issues. So in 2020, we had the great pandemic, and this caused many lockdowns. It also caused many individuals to lose their jobs. And because of these widespread lockdowns, there has been an increased shortage of workers and supplies. So think about this domino effect that has happened across the world. There was a decrease in the number of farmers who were available to go and work the crops in order to grow food and produce. So something as simple as farmers not being available to work crops can in turn cause restaurant prices to rise because now they have to go and spend more on the ingredients that they are purchasing in order to produce the food to give to you. So we as the customers bear the brunt of this increased rate for the lack of supply. Factor number 2 is strong demand. So while we have short supply for many different supply chains, we also have really, really high demand for these same goods. So this also kind of stemmed from 2020, where many of us were saving tons of money. We personally spent very little on gas and even just traveling because there was nowhere to go. We couldn't drive anywhere. We weren't really going to our jobs. We weren't driving around to see our friends as often. And we definitely weren't traveling cross country or even overseas because that just wasn't really an option. And because of all of that great savings, many of us as Americans now have greater amounts of money to go and spend on different things like travel, which is something that we couldn't do for the past few years. Then our country began to open up, and so many of us as Americans began to go and experience all the things that we weren't able to experience during the lockdowns. And so we had all this money saved up from not traveling and going out. And so we wanted to go and spend it and experience all these things. And that drove up prices for things like flights, hotels, and rental cars. And sure, there's many other factors that play into this, but demand is one of those great factors that has dramatically played a part in the increased prices for all of these experiences. Now, factor number 3 are the interest rates. Again, as a result of the pandemic, the Federal Reserve went and plummeted interest rates for many interest-bearing purchases like mortgages or even car loans. These super low interest rates made it way more affordable for Americans to purchase debt like mortgages. And so since there were so many people going out and buying all these homes, prices for homes across America skyrocketed. And this goes for all markets. Yes, there were certain markets like here in Denver that just went crazy, but in general, prices across the board are very, very high because so many people could go and afford a house because the interest rates were so low, which causes monthly mortgage rates to be low as well. And it just makes it so accessible for Americans across the board to jump into homeownership or even purchase a new car or take out a loan for any number of things. So because money was so cheap for a whole year pretty much, lots of people wanted to borrow it. And it was a great deal for many Americans to go and buy a home. But now at this point, interest rates are starting to go back up. The Federal Reserve is trying to cool down the housing market across the country, and so they've increased the rates. And while they're not as high as they have been in the past, they're still generally pretty low. They are a lot higher compared to the prices of homes that we are seeing. And so this has made it now more difficult for people to buy homes where the prices are still really high and now interest rates are increasing, and it's a very difficult situation if you're trying to buy a home. It doesn't make it impossible, but it's just tough. But in general, if you have taken an economia class over the years, you probably know just the general rule of supply and demand. When there's low supply yet high demand, the prices for products and services are going to rise. And that's really what we're seeing across the board here in America and even in other countries. But right now, the Federal Reserve is trying to cool everything down by raising rates, but we're still in this really weird situation where prices of things are still very high, and it's going to take a while until we see them start to come down. So what does this mean for you and for me as we navigate the waters of all the rising prices of goods and services? Well, really, it just means to be defensive. Don't get stressed out, but be prepared. Put together a budget, track your spending, find out where your money is going, and have a plan. My last video was all about how you can kind of fight back against inflation, so definitely go check that out. I share a few tips on how you can practically and biblically be viewing this situation that we're in. But now you have a better understanding of what inflation is, why it's happening, why the prices of all of your goods and services are going up. So now you can have that knowledge in order to fight back against it. If you do have questions though, or want help with your personal situation, with your finances, please reach out to me. You can set up a one-on-one call with myself, complimentary, totally free, and I'd love to chat with you to see if I can help you out, or even if coaching is a good option for you in order to learn how to manage your money well, be an excellent money manager, and ultimately free your money up to pursue your unique calling without any financial hesitation. Please reach out, leave a comment down below if you do have questions, and I will see you next time.